We're bringing news about Victor Osimhen, not one that many Super Eagles fans will want to hear, as a current muscle problem is casting doubts on his availability for the October international window. Of course, we know the Super Eagles of Nigeria will play Libya in a double-header, and Victor Osimhen, as things stand, could just miss that one. Anyways, we've got Tony Ebitoye calling in, of course, a former Super Eagles media officer, to contribute to this topic right here on Afrosport Now in Focus. Great to have you, Tony, as always.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ayomide.
Yes, so of course, a big miss, no doubt. But, you know, in the context of missing those two games, how crucial would it be for the Super Eagles now?
Yeah, it's big news. It's a big miss. If Osimhen is unable to shake off this knock, and it keeps him out of the games in October, it's definitely going to impact on the Super Eagles. But as is always the case, maybe this is also opening the door for some other players to step up and shake off the big shadows of Osimhen and end their place in the team. You know, we were worried about Osimhen's fitness level last month because of the transfer saga and the fact that he didn't have a proper preseason. But he settled in so well at Galatasaray and beginning to get the goals. So maybe the stress is now beginning to tell on him. But whichever way it goes, usually when there is a situation like this, the club would also communicate the Nigeria Football Federation and state exactly the situation with the player. The medics of the national team could also ask a few questions, and because there's a need to always develop a good relationship between the clubs and the federation, there could be a concession to leave him out of the qualifier so as not to aggravate whatever knocks, whatever injuries he has picked up. So we wait to see in the next couple of days the severity of this injury. But you can be sure that if Osimhen is not available to play this weekend, then he's definitely out of the games next week against Libya, the double header against Libya. So that's the situation. But we have some other players. You know, Osimhen came in from the bench in the two games against Benin Republic. Maybe an opportunity for some other strikers to step up now, so that we're filling the gap that will be left by Osimhen's absence.
All right, we're going to take a look at that statement pretty shortly, but we understand that the club, you know, from the statement now, of course, they're saying he's got treatment already and checkups have been made, and that's the basis of the statement. But Victor also took to social media to suggest that, look, the injury is not as serious as you know, it's been made to be in the media. You know, and we know how passionate Victor is, despite, you know, what this statement on the screen is saying. We know how passionate he is about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Do you think he can defy the odds and, you know, perhaps make the squad when Austin Eguavoen, you know, announces the squad?
That would definitely depend. You know, I mean, from my experience working with players, they always want to play. They always feel that the knocks and the injuries are not as bad as they look. But that is where it stops for them. They are not specialists in medicine. They are not specialists in checking out the state of the muscle or the strain or whatever knocks they've picked. That is the responsibility of a team doctor, a team physio, to know exactly how the state of the player. So the player may want to play, but the team doctor will understand better if his player is really ready or in a state of mind physically to play. So the decision, the final decision will definitely rest with the medics of his club. Their decision, I'm sure, will be communicated to the Nigerian Football Federation if they make an inquest, and then that will decide and determine whether the coach calls him up for the game against Libya or not.
Okay, so, we've got a fine pool of attacking talent, Toyin. You look at the quality that we have with and without OSIMHEN. And as it stands now, it's looking more likely that we wouldn't have him, at least from what we're hearing. But, we should begin to look at the impact of his absence vis-a-vis also what, the chance could be. Maybe perhaps the other strikers can take the chance by the scruff of the neck. I mean, the likes of Victor Boniface, for instance. And then, we've got players, their names, but, his absence is also a void to fill in terms of leadership as well.
Definitely. OSIMHEN leads from the front. He's a fighter, and he urges. I mean, his spirit pushes the team along, and he's also struck some excellent understanding with the likes of Ademola Lookman and some of the other players, that also with Simon Moses and all the rest. So it's a big miss, whichever way you look at it. That guy is an arrowhead. So when you don't have him around, you definitely know that you don't have him around. But that's the responsibility of the coach. A team is a good team is a team that even in the absence of key players still manages to put out a performance and get the result. So the responsibility will now be on the Super Eagles coaches to find a way to cushion whatever effects OSIMHEN'S absence will cause, and to probably give confidence to the other strikers in the team that, look, you also can do the job. Victor Boniface, Taiwo Awoniyi, we don't know who they will call up, but the likes of Kelechi Iheanacho and Ademola Lookman, will have to step up in the absence of Victor OSIMHEN. But when you don't have a player like Victor OSIMHEN in your team, you definitely know that, yes, we're missing him, because he pushes, he leads from the front, he charges, he wears down the opponent, and he gives his 100% all the time. Is a bundle of trouble for defenders. So he's a big miss, whichever way you look at it. But that cannot be an excuse for the Super Eagles not to try to find a way. The coaches must find a way to still get the result, even if OSIMHEN is not available for us.
Okay, so let's look at the start to life in Turkey. Before scoring at the weekend, he had three assists, and then he got his first set of goals, a brace against Kasim Pasa. What have you made about his start to life? At least it's been scintillating, a lot of hype around it, but then tell us what you think about his start to life in Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Victor after all that he's gone through. I'm happy that he's gone to a place where he's welcome. He's gone to a place where he's happy. And these are very crucial issues in the life of a professional footballer or a professional sportsman. Because if you're not happy, you are not able to give your best. So he's gone to a place where he's welcome. He's gone to a place where he feels at home. He's gone to a place where he's happy. And you can see that with his body language on the pitch. He pushes, he fights, and tries to get the goals. And that, of course, led to the brace that he got over the weekend. So I'm happy. He has settled in. The fans love him. He's getting the goals. He's getting the assists. That is why they bought him. And he's helping the team as well to get crucial wins in the Turkish league. So that's what he wants to see. Already there are talks about whether he's going to be staying permanently or not. So that's a sign that he's beginning to take to them, and they're beginning to take to him. So that's a welcome development. I hope he's able to continue to put smiles on the faces of the fans of the club, and stay fit to continue to get the goals. That's what we want to see of Victor, and you'll be surprised that there will be a permanent move for him, or he gets a bigger club at the end of the season where he can begin to show the quality he's made of.
So in the context of this season, because you just mentioned his future now, do you think it's ideal for him to stay in Turkey? There are still talks around whether or not he could leave, but we understand from inside information we got that is to spend the entire year in Turkey. But do you think it's ideal, or if there's a bigger move, maybe sometimes around January, for instance, he could move away from Turkey?
I think Victor will stay this season. in Turkey. Before any move can happen, I think it'll probably be at the end of the season. And from the way he has hit the ground running, you will know that he will enjoy his time. He will get plenty of goals. He will get plenty of assists, and there will be a lot of love from the fans, and he will reciprocate that with a lot of goals for the club, probably pushing them to retaining the Turkish league, or even doing well in the European competition. So you can be sure that that's going to happen, bearing injuries. So we just keep praying and hoping that Victor is able to stay out of injuries and is able to enjoy his time on the pitch. Yeah, so that's our hope for Victor. The club is a big club. Galatasaray is a big club, one of the biggest clubs in Europe. So if he stays, I mean, that's the trick, really. When you look at the likes of Icardi, who is there, he was there. I mean, he was supposed to be there on a short-term basis, but he's now staying on for a longer period. So that's the style, that's the strategy. Lure them in and make them feel at home, and then they want to stay for as long as possible.
Well, a motivated Victor does good to both the Super Eagles of Nigeria and to Galatasaray, and we wish him a speedy recovery. Perhaps he could also overcome the injury as well. But then